I love this season and the first four episodes. It's so brilliant. First of all, you're speaking with gay times, and you're part of the rainbow community. I am. Your characters are queer, so tell me, what is the gayest thing we can expect from this series? Or how gay?
Besides this gender reveal happening right here, the gayest thing that'll happen, a dysfunctional lesbian relationship. It's the gayest thing I can think of.
And how gay is it on a factor from 1 to 10? Would you say? Would you say?
On a,
It's so gay.
lesbian on a scale of lesbian, it's 1,000.
Yeah, definitely. It breaks the scale.
Breaks the scale. Too gay.
That's what we like to hear. Too gay. Too gay.
Too
And how
gay.
much how much of a role does Nicole Kidman's iconic Bob play in that
Thank you for bringing it up. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that had its own like number on the course.
Let me tell you something. We love the Bob. The Bob is so important. The Bob is her own character. She is incredible. Thank God.
But we see a range. It goes beyond the Bob. We go back in time to pre-Bob.
Oh my God, we have pre-Bob.
Yeah, we
have
see the
pre-Bob.
origin story of Bob.
We
which
have
is
we
great.
have the journey from long twists to Bob.
And like the ringlet thing,
The ringlet
the
thing,
half up, half down.
bun, up, down. It's just so fabulous. I mean, as queer people, to be in the presence of the Bob is really
It's an honor.
important.
I mean,
I love Wig.
Wig. Let's bring Wig back. Wig.
I'm a simple girl. You give me a wig and I'm happy.
Tell me about your characters, Wolfie and Tina. They seem quite codependent on one another, and there's a little bit, like you said, there's a bit of toxicity there. So, what can we expect from them this season, and what part do they play in Masha's latest psychedelic wellness hijinks?
So much codependency. I think you meet them at a time of breaking point, which is quite fun, because it's like everything is escalated, and it's just it's heartbreaking because there's true organic love at the bottom of there, and you see the flashbacks where you get to know them and how good it was, but they've just gone so off the rails and they can't reach each other. There's no communication, there's no honesty anymore, and they're just butting heads. And you get to see the journey beyond that. What happens when you're at the brink and then you step over?
It's
We're
lesbian
free
bed
falling.
death. It's lesbian bed death. It's full because it's like the thing is we not only work together, we have this shared passion, and our romantic relationship is basically being held together by music.
It's also you're using it as a tool, I feel like, against me. Everything is a tool. Nothing is neutral in the relationship anymore.
No, it's like it's a shit show. But we've all been there. And I think what was so fun about crafting this is that as lesbians, it was like we could sit together and be like, oh, girl, I had this friend who had this one breakup and we should and oh, that's a great idea. Maybe we can bring that. There was so much that we could pull from our own experiences, but also our community. Like, I live in an incredibly toxic lesbian community. They're insane.
And you don't see that represented as much, I feel like.
No.
And also where the queerness, like, yes, we're celebrating it, but it's not their whole personalities, their whole identities in the show, which is refreshing. It's just a dysfunctional relationship and we happen to be queer.
Their being gay is just the whipped cream. Like, there's so much more under the surface. And I think, yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic that I know if I was a young kid and I was watching a TV show, I don't know why I probably as a young kid would watch this show because I loved like fully adult shows as a child. But if I saw a couple like this, I'd be really intrigued because it's complex and because it's not one thing. It's also like, we also made a conscious choice of like, this is a lesbian couple where I started off kind of femme and you were butchy, and then I get the chop. And like we stop getting along. Like the butchier I get, the more we stop. Like we become mask for mask, and then we like don't get along, which I think is so brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
because that happens.
You don't see it. You don't see it as
You don't
much.
see it
And
very
also, we
often.
didn't know what the ending was going to be. You don't know what the ending's going to be. But it's like, so we're filming it. We don't know if we're going to make it or not as a couple. I think that gave it a really tense energy as well, because some scenes we fall in love with them again and we're like, oh, I really hope they make it. Other scenes we're like, these guys need to break the hell up now. And then finally it gets revealed in the same time that we kind of found it. This is actually the way it needs to be.
And where do we play into the whole, Masha's hijinks? You're gonna have to find out.
So you're saying more toxic sapphic representation, the better.
Please.
Yeah, along with other healthy, positive ones as well. It's part of the spectrum. Show the spectrum.
It's all about the spectrum, right? It's if there's too much of us, of queer people, just being characters that feel archaic and supportive to a straight narrative, it's boring. But too much toxicity, and then everyone thinks we're just evil. So but we deserve a healthy balance.
Yeah.
just like straight people. You get every color of straight person, types of straight person under the sun. You get very few types of gay people. And
Yeah.
I think her and I really sat down together and were like, how do we make something new?
Yeah, the toxicity doesn't come from their gayness. It comes from them as people and how flawed they are. And that's important, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And actors can and they should play, all kinds of characters. But what does it mean for you both to kind of personally play someone who does align close with who you are as a person?
Well, I think it's more so about the musician thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was interesting to play a musician who like lost their love for music because like we've all been there at some point with when you have a creative passion, you naturally there's moments where you're like, do I even like this anymore? And then you find your way. But I think that was even more relatable than the gay part.
For me, it's just refreshing because I have played a lot of both. Well,
Yeah,
no,
you've
I
been in
played
different positions.
mostly straight characters and only like once other than I played a queer character twice. And so it's just fun. It's fun to actually, that bit doesn't have to be the performance, if that bit feels organic, which is nice. It's something you can relate to.
Play around with gender too, like it both did.
Definitely.
In such beautiful ways with Lizzie Goodman doing styling.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to be butch like that before on camera. And that was really, really fun to explore and how that changes the energy and the dynamic and then, self-confidence.
For me, I'm just gay every day. I'm ready to play a straight woman. I'm just like, I'm ready, like just corset tits,
Yeah. Go for it.
I want to switch with you.
You want to do my 1500s wolf horse? The eighth corset, double corset.
Totally. And you'll take just being a gay pop star. It's easy. You got it.
I'll play you in your biopic.
I will put you forward in the casting. Yeah.
King Princess, this does mark your major acting debut, and I have to say, you are so natural on screen. You do such a wonderful job. What was it like for you in your first major gig to be surrounded by so many legends who are, there's a lot of LGBTs in this cast, but also loads of LGBT allies. What was it like to be surrounded by all of those people?
It was a little gay girl's dream to be in a room with Nicole Kidman. And Christine Baranski and Murray Bartlett. And Dolly and Annie and you and everybody. I really honestly, it's a pinch me moment. Like the kindness, the generosity I was shown, the friendships that I've made and that are now irreplaceable members and family members in my life. Like I really just hit the jackpot. I feel like a very lucky girl, mostly. And, you really can't ask for more, right? This stuff is fun. Like my life is fun. I get to be a musician and I get to be an actor, and I don't take that for granted for a second.
What was it like to have each other as scene partners as well? Because you bounce off each other so well.
I'd like to hear you say something nice about me. So you go.
Well, I think what was really refreshing is because it was your first time, it took me right back to instinct. We weren't sitting there breaking down this in such like intellectual way that you do with other actors. It was about, but what's the authentic feeling here? And like, what are we pulling from real life? And that was really refreshing. I think it actually was a good reset for me as a performer. So thank you. And I think we did a lot of work before we even got there. So because of that all meant that when we were on set, we could just play. We could find it in the moment. So we were improving. We were like teasing in a way that was positive for the character development within the scene as well, which was important.
We had a good rapport, and I think that I couldn't have asked for a better like big sister, honestly, to guide me through it, because it was just like it was new, and I could have had somebody who wasn't down to clown, and wasn't down to answer questions and down to do extra work, and you were. Which is incredible. We met up and sat down and went through the shit because it was important that we did that. We both knew. She was like, I'm not letting this bitch drag me down. She was like, I am not letting this girl, you were, and in a kind way. You were
so kind though.
You were totally like, we got it, and I think once we got to set, you weren't worried. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Once we got on camera, we looked at each other. We're like, "Oh, we're good at this."
But even in the chemistry read on Zoom, we did an audition together.
We were both
Zoom.
so hungover,
and it was very natural. Like it just happened, And I think from that moment, I was like, "Yeah, we're good."
It was so fabulous. We had so much fun, and we got on each other's nerves, but in a cute way. Cute for me, maybe not cute for you.
We made it through.
Thank you so much.
Hey, girl.
You both have been wonderful, and I love your characters. I really hope that the Bob brings them together.
Pray, pray for the Bob.